We have all been brought up surrounded by people who keep telling us what not to do. Don't splash water. Don't run inside. Don't bite. Don't fight with your brother. Don't steal. Don't cheat on your tests. Don't mess on your clothes. Don't be late. And so the list goes on and on. Of course, we don't want those things to happen, as the result of them inconveniences us or at times can also be dangerous. I don't want water splashed in the bath, as it will mess the floor and someone may actually fall. I don't want my children to run inside, as things could get knocked over and broken, including people. Yes, people can get a bit broken as well. So this is not a question of should I keep my mouth closed. But when we say don't run inside, we are actually asking our children to do something different than running inside. I mean, that's quite obvious, right? But let's take a closer look at this. Let's see what the research tells us about how the brain works and how it makes sense of what we see and how we make meaning of it. If I say to you, don't run inside, what image begins to form in your mind? For you to understand my words of don't run inside, you will first have to think of and understand running inside, to then be able to think about what you need to do instead of running inside. So in many ways, you having to think of running inside first causes a reinforcement of running inside. And then we wonder why our children don't listen to us and can't remember what we actually told them. But our brains don't just stop there. I've said, don't run inside. But your brain then goes into overdrive to make sense of, well, what must I do instead then? And more importantly, what are you expecting me to do instead? At the same time, regardless of what research may be true or not, just look at your child's face when you say to them, don't run inside, or don't hit your brother, or don't talk with your mouth full of food. You can see that spark in their eyes dim, the face becomes long, and you sense them feeling bad or guilty. So I want to introduce you to the next skill, and you've probably already guessed it. It's share what you need instead of what you don't need. Instead of, John, don't jump on the couches, share what you need. John, these couches are for sitting on. Instead of, don't run inside the house, do you want to fall? Share what you need. Robin, we walk inside. One of my favorite experiences of really understanding this next skill was watching another teacher disciplining her class. The young children were coming inside after running around at break time. Boys and girls, don't run inside. Some of the boys looked at her, and then they started skipping instead. The teacher again said, don't skip inside. They stopped, they looked at her again, and then they started hopping along to their desks. The teacher said again, no hopping inside. All of you will stay in after school for being so disrespectful. What would have been the difference if, as the boys and the girls were coming back into class, excited and energetic after their break time, she had just said, boys and girls, we walk while we are inside, please. In saying what you need, you are sharing with them the actions and behavior you require, or that are appropriate at that time. It doesn't attack the children's personality. It just conveys to them what the appropriate behavior is that is required. When you share what you need without attacking their character, children step up with an attitude of cooperation nearly all the time. Listen again to the difference the words make you feel. Don't run inside, and we walk inside. The one phrase makes you feel wrong and can evoke a huge power struggle, and the other one guides you in what is appropriate without attacking your character. This simple change in wording and mindset will literally change your world. It is not always easy, as you have probably had between 20 and 40 years of negative programming to undo. Our habits are so deeply ingrained into saying what we don't want, but I've been amazed at how quickly teachers and parents have changed this pattern when they keep being aware of what they are saying. And then soon enough, this pattern becomes habitual and they don't have to think about it again as the words just flow naturally. And the amazing thing is to see how quickly children learn this way of communicating with their own peer group. Our children are learning us while we are teaching them. Imagine the impact of this lifelong gift you are giving them. Believe that when they are parenting their own children and they default to the words that they were brought up, your children will talk an emotionally intelligent language as their natural default. Examples of adapting the skill across different age ranges. This skill is so universal that it can be applied to all age groups easily. And let me give you a hint that I actually use the skill more often on the adults around me. Let's say that your child is between the ages of 3 and 7 and you don't want them to throw balls or things inside. Joshua, we hold balls carefully while we are inside. Maybe your 3 and 7-year-old, you just want them to stop whining. Please speak clearly to me so I can hear what you need. Maybe your child is between 7 and 12 and you want them to stop stealing from their friends. We value and respect other people's property and toys. We ask them if we want to play with their stuff. Maybe your child is between 7 and 12 and you want them to stop playing computer games at the moment. Playing computer games is for weekends or homework or whatever is the general rule in your family. Maybe you want them to stop screaming when they are upset with you. Please make sure you still speak to me respectfully, even when you are upset. Maybe your child is between the ages of 12 and 18, and you're not wanting them to come home late after the party. Please be back home by the time we have agreed. Maybe your child is between the ages of 12 and 18, and you don't want them to be rude with you. We still speak respectfully to each other, even though we may be upset or disagree with what we are saying.